Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody's having a good day today. First off, I wanted to apologize for the lack of content. As most of you may know, I was in Florida for 4 days visiting family and doing Halloween Horror Nights. And basically, as soon as I got back, I was right back at work. I've been working for like the last 6 days. And it's just been really busy. Every time I came home, I was just tired and just really didn't have any extra time to do any content. So I apologize about that, and I hope to change that here and get some content out for you guys. Second of all, you probably noticed that I still have the Halloween stuff up. I didn't get a chance to take it down before I left for Florida, and I really haven't had a chance yet this week. But since this video, I'm going to kind of talk about my Halloween Horror Nights experience, I figured it's appropriate to do one last video with all this up. This will probably come down today. And personally, in my opinion, haunt season goes from the middle of September right all the way up till Thanksgiving, until then you start all that other holiday stuff. So to me, I still consider it haunt season, but this will probably come down today. This will probably be the last video I do. But I just thought I would kind of talk a little bit about my Halloween Horror Nights experience and maybe some tips that I learned that I got from my brother who has done Halloween Horror Nights before that might help you guys out if you choose to go next year. There's, a few things that you can do that that will make it more enjoyable and, a little bit cheaper and, stuff like that. So I thought I'd kind of go over it. And unfortunately, you couldn't film it all in any of the haunted houses. So, but you could film outside, like what's going on. They have different like scare zones where it's basically just people running around, kind of scaring people. We're walking around with like, fake chainsaws and all that kind of weird stuff. And you can film as much of that as you wanted. So I figured I'll talk about this a little bit. And then at the very end, I'll just put together just a few clips of some of the stuff I filmed when I was there. So you guys can kind of just get an idea what it's like just walking around when you're not in the houses. So first off, for any of you guys that don't know, Halloween Horror Nights is something that's put on by Universal Studios out in California and also out in Florida. And basically what it is just a bunch of different haunted houses that get put together on sound stages that they have there. And they usually do like 3 major ones that are like well known as far as like movies. Like for example, this year it was a Beetlejuice house, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, and the Haunting of Hill House were the 3 major houses. And then they have like 4-ish, maybe kind of just made up haunted houses. That's kind of their own type of deal. You go there and you can go to these haunted houses, and they also have these things called scare zones, which are outside. And like I said earlier, they're just little areas you can go through, and the people kind of try to scare you, and there's a big production and this and that. And they also have a couple shows. They have like a pyrotechnic kind of horror show you can go to. The line was way too long, and we had fast passes, and the fast passes did not work with that, so we decided to skip that. But they had like a water show that was pretty cool. That was free, so we checked that out. So there's other things to do, and some of the rides are open. Like we went to Harry Potter Land, kind of walked around that a little bit and rode one of the Harry Potter rides. So there is other stuff to do there, but the main attraction on those nights is the haunted houses and all of the things associated with Halloween Horror Nights. Now, Halloween Horror Nights as a whole is a lot of fun. For me personally, the houses, I really didn't find any of them too scary. For starters, during the pandemic, they have to have plastic up. So you're kind of, when you're going through the houses, every time you see a piece of plastic, well, that's usually where somebody's probably going to be popping out from. So that kind of ruined it. That took away the effect a little bit. There's constantly staff members in there who are not characters, that are just in shirts that say staff, keeping an eye on things. So you go around every corner and there's like 2 or 3 staff members. Really kind of takes away from the experience. There's tons of people walking through at once, so it's never like you're by yourself. It's dark in there, but there's still like plenty of light because there's no like roof on it. So there's lights from up above that are kind of come down. It's dark, but you can still see. And so as far as like a scare like factor, I really didn't find it to be too scary. We went to a haunted house in one of my brother's neighbors' houses, and they put on one, and I found that to be far creepier than anything at Halloween Horror Nights, just because it was a much smaller space. They were only letting like 1 to 2 people in at a time. They had fog going in there, so it was hard to see. It was a lot darker. It was a lot more cramped. When you went in through each one of every time you went into a new room, you had to go through like little like drapes type stuff. So you never knew what was going to be right around the corner. So as far as like a creepy factor, that house did a very good job. And I found that to be far creepier than anything at Halloween Horror Nights. Not to say that Halloween Horror Nights is not fun and not kind of creepy, and sometimes as a production value, production level, it's top notch. I mean, it's Universal Studios. The detail that goes into it, the special effects, the lighting, all that is top notch. So for me, it wasn't so much more of a haunted house, it's more of just a cool, really cool experience to kind of go through. And another thing that they do that makes it very effective, the one that I found to be most effective that really just kind of gave me the willies was during the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. They had some sort of scent in there that was like a mixture of like oil and death. I mean, it was the most off-putting, cringe-worthy like scent I had ever smelled. And they had a few other houses too that had these scents going, like these smells that just really was the icing on the cake that as a production value just really put it over the top and made it far creepier. I mean, those smells that they had in those houses were a definite must. I mean, it just made it so much more real, especially in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. That was that whole house was just very off-putting. It was cool, but it was very, very off-putting. But yeah, like I said, not super scary, but a production value. They do a top-notch job. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm not sure if you have to be a certain age to go into it, but I mean, if you bring in your kids that are, teenagers or even just a little bit below, I don't know. I don't really think it's overly scary. I mean, it's nothing really too gory. Most kids could probably handle it. But if you start bringing young kids, yeah, don't bring them to that because it will spook them. So next, I thought I would just kind of talk a little bit about maybe some tips that I have or things that my brother showed me we should do that just kind of makes for a better experience. And will save you money at some point, and will just also it'll be an overall better experience. And the first tip that I have, and this is probably the most important one, is make sure you have good walking shoes. You are going to put in so many steps. The houses are all over the park, all over the place. I got up that morning. I went to work. I really didn't walk that much at work. I came home, got picked up by an Uber, went to the airport, walked to my terminal, got on a plane, got off the plane, got to my brother's car. And that was it for walking. It was maybe a couple thousand steps, maybe a little more. And then we went straight to Halloween Horror Nights. And as soon as I got out of there, we were walking into Universal Studios, which, by the way, walking into Universal Studios just from where you park to get into, like, inside the place is darn near a mile. I mean, it's pretty close, or give or take a mile. It's a pretty decent walk. But by the end of the day, it had already gone past midnight, so new numbers had started counting for the next day. But for that day alone, I believe, a little over 30,000 steps. And then I did darn near from midnight till, or right about midnight till, I don't know, maybe 1:30 in the morning, whenever I finally fell asleep, was like an additional 1,000 or something. So I did, roughly about 30,000 steps, and most of that was at Halloween Horror Nights. So make sure that you have good shoes because you will be doing a lot of walking. Next up, either eat before you get there or eat outside of Universal Studios. Now, when you walk into Universal Studios, you park, you go through security, you do all that stuff. There's a little area there. It's kind of like a big outdoor mall that's just filled with restaurants and bars, and you might have a few shops here and there. If you've ever been to Disney Springs, it's kind of like that, but not as big, and mostly restaurants. And that area is called City Walk, I believe, and that's just outside of the gates before you actually step into Universal Studios. Now, I highly recommend that you eat at one of those restaurants. Like they have, we ate at, I think it was some sort of like Chipotle type restaurant. I don't remember the name, but they have like Burger King, Panda Express. They have sushi places. They have, just sit down places. They have fast food places. I highly recommend if you're going to eat there, eat before you go in the actual gates of Universal Studios. You will save yourself a ridiculous amount of money on beverages and food. Or maybe bring food in. We didn't do that, so I don't know if that's allowed, if you can bring beverages in or not. I don't know. But if you do choose to eat there, eat at the City Walk, which still is spendy, but it's a lot cheaper than inside Universal Studios. Like, for example, I went there, I bought a Coke Zero when I was in there. I think it was $7 for a bottle of Coke Zero. I bought my sister-in-law a mixed drink, which had a little keeper cup, which I'll show you a little later in the video. Had a little keeper cup. But that drink, I think it was like $16 for, not that big of a cup of a mixed drink. It's like $16. Sodas, waters was like $7. We didn't buy any food, but I'm sure the food was ridiculously expensive too. So yeah, that's definitely make sure you eat before you go into the Universal Studios. You may have to get a beverage when you're in there. I don't know. We had to because you do a lot of walking. You get thirsty. But try to avoid spending as much money there because it's expensive enough just for the tickets. Which brings me to my next point. So the tickets, we bought our Halloween Horror Night tickets in advance. I believe the tickets I don't know, certain on weekends, I think it's more, and we went the weekend of Halloween, which is a little more expensive. So I believe our tickets to get in was like maybe $85, $80, $75, somewhere around between $75 and $85. Now, this is where it gets a little more expensive, but it is so worth it. Fork out the money for the Fast Pass. The Fast Pass is probably more expensive than the ticket. I think the Fast Pass was like $100. So you're looking at $185, but if you're only going to do it once and you want to get to all the houses and still have plenty of time to spare, you need to spend the money on the Fast Passes or you are going to wait in line forever and you're going to be there for hours and hours and hours and maybe get into 3 houses, maybe 4 tops. We got the Fast Pass. We spent the money on the Fast Pass. I got it as my birthday gift from my brother and my sister-in-law, and I think my mom helped with it too. So I got lucky. I only had to pay for my own ticket. I didn't have to pay for my Fast Pass. But it was so worth it. I think the longest we waited at any of the haunted houses, maybe 10 minutes. I don't even think we waited 10 minutes. And we got through the houses very quickly. We got to every single one of the houses. We had plenty of time to spare. We had time to just kind of mope around and go look at the water show and go through a couple of scare zones a few times, the ones that we really liked. We were able to go wander around Harry Potter land, or the little area they have there. We were able to wait in line to ride the Harry Potter ride, which that was about a half an hour wait, I want to say, give or take, maybe a little more. And that was the longest line we waited all night because our Fast Passes didn't work for Harry Potter, only the Halloween Horror Nights. But yeah, I can't stress that enough. If you're only going once, just fork out the money for the Fast Pass because it will be a much better experience. Otherwise, you're going to spend 3/4 of the night waiting in line and you're going to get to maybe like 3 houses. So definitely get the Fast Pass. And lastly, make time to do some of the shows. We only saw the water show, but there was a Pyrotechnic Show there, which looked pretty cool. I've seen videos of it, and it looked pretty cool, but we just weren't The one show, the line was super long when we happened to be passing it. The next show wasn't for like 2.5 hours, and we just decided to skip it. But if you have the time, and especially if you do the fast pass, you get there early enough, you should have plenty of time to do the shows and the water shows. But definitely do the water show, because the water show is not super long. You don't have to go into any real area. It's just and a big open area of water that happens to be right in the park, and you just kind of walk up and you can see it. You don't have to wait in line for it, and it's super cool. And you'll see in the video clip, I have a little bit on there. I'll show it to you guys. It's a lot of fun, you know. You can just kind of go chill there. It's not super long, and it's really enjoyable. And then there were a few other shows too, which we didn't really delve too much into. We could have went and did them, but you know what? I was like, I'm here at Universal. I've never been to Harry Potter Land. Never rode any of the Harry Potter rides. We're allowed to do it. It's included with our ticket. Might as well do it. So we kind of spent the time and went into Harry Potter Land for a little bit when we were all done at the houses. And we just did the water show because you didn't have to wait in line. It's just kind of something you walked up to when it started, kind of like the fireworks they do at like Disneyland. It's like, oh, fireworks are happening at 10. You just go and to the area they're doing it. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to go into anywhere super special. It's just right there. So, but yeah, if you have time, check out some of those like shows, those pyrotechnic shows. I think there's another like horror circus type deal. Like I said, we didn't do too much of that because we wanted to do Harry Potter Land, but I've seen videos and from the stuff I've seen, it looks pretty impressive. So I would definitely recommend it just based on those videos alone. So I'm going to just show you guys a couple things that I picked up there. I didn't get really too much. I really wanted to get a t-shirt. They were really cool, but they're like $35, and I didn't like them enough to spend $35 on a t-shirt. There were some coffee mugs I wanted to get that actually said like Halloween Horror Nights 2021 on it, but they were like $25. They were just really expensive. So I really didn't get too much. The first thing I did get though is they had this coffee mug, which was originally $16 and was 30% off. I was hoping everything was going to be like 30% off because it was, you know, the last couple of nights of it. But it was, though they only had this and like one other poster thing that was like 35% off or 30% off, which I really wanted to get, but there was just no way I was going to be able to get it back on the plane. I guess I could have carried it, but I just didn't really want to deal with it. But this one does not actually say Halloween Horror Nights on it. It does on the bottom, but for $16 and then 30% off, I had to get it. But it's just this kind of a Universal Studios mug. You got a cool Frankenstein there. It says Universal Studios. You got a scary looking clown there. And then you got Chucky there. And so this was like, I don't know, it wasn't very much. It was like $10.99 or something afterwards. I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty cheap. And on the bottom there, it says Halloween Horror Nights. So that was pretty cool. I figured, for that price, I'll pick up that. It'll be a nice little souvenir. And then this was the cup. Actually, I'll put this in here so it'll be easier for you guys to see. This is the cup that my sister-in-law's drink came with, and she let me have it. And so it's kind of hard to see. You got a clown there. It says Halloween Horror Nights. And then on the back, also says Halloween Horror Nights. It's kind of hard to see without, so I just thought I'd throw that in there. So it's kind of cool. So yeah, so I paid like $10.99 total and got this cool cup and that coffee cup. So I really didn't spend that much money out there. I spent enough money on physical media, so I didn't really need to spend a ton there. It was expensive enough just for the tickets. So I'm happy with those two purchases. Yeah, I really enjoyed what I got. So yeah, guys, I mean, overall, it was a lot of fun. If you've never done it and you're into that sort of thing, definitely do it. It is spendy, but to me, it was awesome. I got to hang out with my brother and my sister-in-law, and we had a great time. We were walking around, had some laughs, you know, saw some really cool haunted house productions, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I really got for you. I am going to show some clips here of just kind of some of the stuff that you saw just walking around the theme park. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy that. So that's it, guys. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Lets me know you guys like what I'm doing. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. Enjoy the clip and have a good day. Bye.
Just what a monster of a prize!